Hello, everyone. This is criminal profiler Pat Brown. And yes, I'm back again with part 3 of my bit on Joran van der Sloot and the plea deal. I've had a bit of flack because some people think I'm being mean to Beth Holloway, that she's a victim too, and I'm not being nice to her, that she has a right to know what happened to her daughter, Natalie. And if she wants to be comforted by the fact he supposedly confessed, then she should have that right. And people think I was rather mean. All right. Sometimes I'm very straightforward, not the gentlest of persons. I'll admit that. But I'm very upset about this. I'm angry because I see a lot of people playing Beth Holloway. Natalie is not in this world and she can't be harmed anymore, but her family can, and everybody has been doing it. Now, starts with Joran van der Sloot, all right? And then it goes on to the media and sometimes even the detectives and the prosecutors and the FBI people all getting involved with whatever their agenda is. And everybody thinks their agenda is to help Beth Holloway. And that is not necessarily true. I'm going to go through exactly what's been going on to poor Beth Holloway and why I'm so angry about this stupid plea deal, which is going to give him, not only did he get a sweet deal right away, but he's going to capitalize on this. I will guarantee you. And I'll get to that toward the end of the video. I'm going to show you exactly what's going to happen with him and why he is gloating his way back to Peru. All right. Now, this is something that Beth Holloway said right away after the plea deal was through. She said, "This confession means we have finally reached the end of this never-ending nightmare." Who lied to her? Who lied to her and told her this would bring solid closure and she wouldn't have anything to deal with again? No, it is not going to, because it has opened a door for Joran van der Sloot. And I'll explain that in a little bit as to why that's such a disaster, in my opinion, for Beth and for all victims of crime and families of victims of crime. When we allow this kind of stuff to go on, these kind of plea deals, and not understanding how a psychopath plays you and plays everyone. And you know, the reason they can play people is because people have agendas. And they'll let him get away with what he gets away with because it benefits them in some way. Let me explain this. All right. This is something that happened with Beth along the way. All right. In May 2010, she paid van der Sloot $25,000, and then also she wired $15,000 to him in exchange for a specific location of Natalie's remains and the specific details concerning the manner of her death, how her remains were disposed of, and how her remains came to be in a specified location, if moved at any time. They agreed that van der Sloot would receive $225,000 upon positive identification of the remains. Absolutely outrageous. This should never have ever been allowed. I don't know what the rules and regulations were as far as whether she had the right to do this, but oh my gosh, that's insane. But it happened, and she was desperate. She was willing, and she admits it, to pay him the murder of her child to find out where her child's body was. But van der Sloot later emailed Beth and her associates to say, oh, the information he provided was, quote, worthless, according to the indictment. I paid my daughter's killer money, Beth said in court today. That's shocking. I don't think anyone can really wrap their mind around what that means. And she realized it then. She was like, how desperate. I was that desperate. That desperate. So, yeah, he lied because that's what Joran van der Sloot does. He's a pathologically lying psychopath. Never, ever, ever can you believe him. He said her body was buried and he would, with the money, he'd tell Beth where. And he, of course, reneged on that. He lied to you, Beth, but now that he's given a confession, you believe his confession. Why? Because he's a pathological liar. He does what benefits him, not what benefits you. And this is what all those people around Beth should have said. They should have said to her, tell him to go jump. And that's a nice way of putting it. Okay, next, after this happened, let's see. Natalie Holloway's mother is suing a TV series about her daughter's 2005 disappearance. She got screwed again by Oxygen Channel. Now, listen to this. The 6-episode Oxygen series was billed as another attempt to find answers. What a lying bunches of. I'm trying to stay on YouTube and not get say bad words. The series followed Natalie's father, Beth Holloway's ex-husband, Dave Holloway, and private investigator T.J. Ward, another scumbag, who was abusing Beth Holloway. Peacock was abusing her. And T.J. Ward was abusing her because they all knew the truth, that they were actually not doing a real series to find out answers. They were playing them. And I don't know about her ex-husband. I don't know about Dave Holloway, whether he was just suckered into it too. As they retackled the case, the key moments involved discussions with informants, including one who claimed to have known Joran van der Sloot, to have exhumed Natalie's body at van der Sloot's bidding, to have crushed Natalie's remains into little pieces, and to have burned her skull before disposing of her remains. This guy is a guy by the name of, let me remember his name, John Christopher Ludwig. Now, I actually met John Christopher Ludwig at I can't remember what television studio I was at, but I met him there. I think we were actually on the same show. And he started talking, and I think it didn't go well between us. In other words, I basically I think I might have called him a lying scumbag on the show, but I'm not sure if I did. But in the green room thing, he wanted to chit chat with me and be all friendly, because that's what psychopaths do, because he has psychopathic friends. And so he's like, hey, I'm like, look, dude, I don't want to talk to you because you're a lying piece of crap. So later on, when he spoke up on, I think it was on Facebook or Twitter, I don't know where, but I told the world he was a lying scumbag. He went and said that we had entered the elevator together, and I stood there and shook like a terrified little girl in the elevator. Dude, you're lying again. I got in an elevator with you, but with about 7 other people. So I hardly think I was all paranoid. And if I've been in there alone with you, I know you're too much of a wuss to do anything. So you're just a pathological liar. Well, anyway, he tried to knife some girl and she knifed him instead, and he's dead. So that's justice. Anyway, but what happened in this whole thing? All right, so then the show's participants took possession of the bone fragments identified by the suspects. On August 10th of 2017, Dave contacted his ex-wife, explaining they needed her DNA to see if the human female remains were Natalie's. Dave did not tell Holloway that testing was part of the television production. The lawsuit said she provided the DNA sample and then heard nothing until she heard about the Oxygen series. The legal complaint alleges the producers already knew the remains would not match the missing girl before making the request. Yes, 100% believe that. Oxygen Channel and many other documentaries have agendas, and their agendas are to make a crap load of money. They don't care about the truth. Like Making a Murder from Netflix, one of the biggest money-making things of all time. Stephen Avery is one of the most guilty people of all time as well. And yet Netflix didn't care, and they just did the defense side of it because that's what made them money. They don't care about the truth. Oxygen didn't care about the truth. They did 6-part series. We're searching for the remains of Natalie, along with this piece of garbage Ludwig and this crap PI. Unbelievable, absolutely horrifying that they would do this. But they made a pile of money, and that's their agenda. They didn't care about Beth Holloway. They didn't care. He doesn't care about Beth Holloway. Oxygen didn't care about Beth Holloway. All right, so those are already 2 things Beth Holloway has gone through in this whole thing of trying desperately to find out what happened to her daughter. All right, let me go on about this plea deal now. So he makes this plea deal. Here's what Beth Holloway says. We had our Miami FBI team. We had our Birmingham FBI team. We had the prosecutors. We had it was a comprehensive approach to getting the answers, Holloway said. And then not only that, everything was corroborated. Let me stop right there. How are you going to corroborate this guy's pack of lies? No, her body's never been found. There's no way to prove how she died. There's no way to prove where her body was. He can say anything he wants. How are you going to corroborate that? Now, if she's saying the FBI guys corroborated that, then the FBI guys are playing her too. That's just, they're just all in. Oh, yeah, I think he's telling the truth. I don't even care if you're the best profiler around, which I think I might be. Just joking. But I can listen to Joran van der Sloot's story about how she turned him down, kicked him, and then he hit her with a big piece of cement or whatever it was, a cinder block, and then tossed her body in the ocean because she's just too lazy to do anything. We won't talk about his possible two co-conspirators. We won't talk about his daddy who might have helped get rid of the body. We won't talk about the fact she might have been buried someplace and not thrown in the sea. We won't talk about any of that. I'm just supposed to look at his little confession and corroborate it. I can't corroborate it because I've got zero evidence of anything except for he was the last person seen with her and he killed another woman in very similar fashion. So what I personally believe is that he tried to have sex with her on the beach. She pushed back. He did a date rape thing, smothered her, strangled her, whatever, in the sand, and she died that way. I don't know that her body, I don't believe he just tossed her body in the ocean. I believe he had help at that point, calling daddy to move her body someplace. Whether it ever ended up in the ocean or was buried someplace, I do not know. And because I'm honest and don't have an agenda to prove anything, I would say to Beth, sorry, Beth, I can't say whether he's telling the truth or not. Chances are he's not, because he's got a history of being a pathological liar, which you should recognize. You've dealt with his pathological lying. We all know he killed her. We just know this. Accept that fact. And getting a confession from him is meaningless because he's only going to confess to what is an advantageous thing for him to do. So for the FBI people and the prosecutors and all these other people to say, hey, and she says also there's a polygrapher who came in. I don't care. He could pass probably a polygraph by lying through it. Anybody who tells her you can believe him is lying to her. And it's not fair to lie to victims. It's not fair. You're a professional. Don't lie. Don't lie because for whatever reason you want to wrap something up. You want to get in the news. I don't know what their purposes were. But what was their purpose? To get to the truth? Well, heck no. Because if any profiler or anybody says, any of the prosecutors said that what he said is getting closer to the truth, again, is lying to her. It's not true. It's not getting anywhere near the truth. What it did do, that plea deal, that sweet plea deal, and let me tell you what it did for him. All right. Oh, by the way, Holloway also said she feels he gave the confession as a result of being in the U.S. custody, something that may not have happened otherwise. No, Beth, that's not what happened. He was in U.S. custody and he got the plea deal. Had he not gotten the proper plea deal, he wouldn't have said anything. All right. Further on. The statute of limitations for murder in Aruba is 12 years, so van der Sloot will not be charged with Natalie's murder despite allegedly confessing to her killing. Correct. He can never be charged with her murder. Whoo, good for him. He's home free. Doesn't matter what he says. He can never be charged. All right? So the plea deal wasn't about him being, basically wasn't getting off the hook for that. He was already off the hook for that. So what's the plea deal about? Well, let's look at it. All right. If you go, let's see, go down to the second paragraph. I imagine he didn't give up the confession for free, Grunwald said. I was a little surprised to see he got the concurrent. Oh, yes, the concurrent. So I thought that might be what got him in exchange, that he got in exchange for the confession. All right. So what happens is van der Sloot was also convicted of trafficking cocaine, but he killed the woman in Peru. He got a long sentence for that, but then he trafficked cocaine in the prison too, and he threatened the warden to kill him. So he also got an additional 18 years in Peru, supposedly. But Peruvian law bars prison sentences from exceeding 35 years unless the defendant is given the life sentence. All right. So theoretically, he might be there till 2045. All right. He's getting it concurrently. Concurrently. He's serving his sentence. This is the most ridiculous thing I've ever heard. You serve your sentence concurrently. That basically means you don't get this sentence were given is meaningless. Because if you serve two sentences at the same time, one of them is jack crap. Let's be truthful. He's getting 20 extra years for this. No, he's not. He's getting 20 years at the same 20 years he's already gotten. He's not serving any sentence for this. So the plea deal allowed him to concurrently serve a sentence for, okay, I admitted it, so therefore you're going to sentence me to 20 years, but at the same 20 years I've already got. So it's not going to make a dang bit of difference. And the claim is that, oh, well, if he finishes up in Peru early, like let's say he finishes up 2 years early, they can extradite him back to the US and he can serve 2 years in the US. Oh, big deal. But I'm going to guarantee you that's never going to happen. Now, let's see what happens after he finishes up. Oh, by the way, he's supposed to also, I read this, I'm like, oh, he's also going to have to pay $25,000 in restitution. Oh, that's terrible. How about that? That's really helpful. All right. Now, okay, let me go to the next one. Okay, that's not the next one. That's for my other show. All right. Guess what happens after he finishes his sentence in Peru? Guess where he goes? Right back to Aruba, where he lives a free man the rest of his life. All right. Now, why does he win the big lottery here? If you've hung into this video, I hope you hung in to hear this. What is the biggest reason he took the plea deal? Because once he confesses to killing Natalie, all right, and not having to actually be charged with her murder in Aruba, once he confesses that, actually has no penalty for doing so, he is now opened the door to the media. He now will become a celebrity. He will have maybe FBI profilers, maybe other profilers, maybe journalists, maybe if somebody wants to write a great story, whatever. They'll go flying down to Peru because actually it'd be nice to go to Peru, wouldn't it? I haven't been there yet. I mean, I could say, wow, I want to write his story. So I'm going to fly to Peru, have a great time, have a wonderful vacation, make lots of friends, eat great food, all that stuff, And meanwhile, I can write this great story and I can make a crap load of money off of this guy. Because now he can say anything he wants. Am I going to turn all that money over to Beth? Oh, probably not. You think the next Netflix thing that comes out and says the truth of Joran van der Sloot, and they go down and they film and they pay off somebody so they can get into the prison in the prison. I think it's really one of the worst prisons supposedly in Peru. But on the other hand, the last prison he was in, he was dealing drugs, getting married, having babies. So do you think the media, after they get their little hands into this, now that he's free to speak and say whatever he wants, he can change his story. He'll say, oh yeah, I really didn't hit it with a cinder block. Here's what I really did. And everybody's going to rush down so they can be the first to get the true story from Joran van der Sloot. He is going to be a celebrity from now on, books, movies, whatever. That's why you've been played again, Beth, by this stupid plea deal, which harmed him in no way, gave him the opening to become a massive star. And you think your pain is over? What did she say? This confession means we finally reached the end of this never-ending nightmare. No, Beth, you have not reached the end of the nightmare because he's still alive. And now he's got the freedom of speech. I don't know that unless Peru has some rule where nobody is allowed to access him in prison. And God, I wish they had. I haven't checked all that out because our prisons are stupid enough to allow all serial killers and other horrible killers to become very, very popular in the media and on the internet. I don't think you're free from the nightmare. And I think this was a disastrous mistake to allow the plea deal. I do not blame Beth for this. Beth was just desperately trying to get information. She did want closure. I just don't think she's going to get it. And what pisses me off is that all these things, the media, the prosecution, the profilers, I just don't know why they all went for this plea deal. What was in it for everybody else but Beth? So that he could tell her a phony story and open the doors to his celebrity. So that's my third and hopefully final commentary on this because it's just been very upsetting to me. I hate to see lies. I hate to see psychopaths play people, but No, even worse than watching him play people is to watch people making money off of playing victims like this. Massive money. I'm not talking about small amounts, because somebody will come out and say, well, you're making money off of her too because you have a YouTube channel. Yeah, I have a small educational YouTube channel. I'm not Netflix. I'm not Oxygen. I'm not writing a book and getting a top, getting $1 million for, getting, being on the New York Times list. I'm not getting any of those things. I'm not jealous. That's the next thing people try to throw at me. Oh, you're just jealous. I'm making more money than you. That's not the point. I'm an educational channel. I want to educate about profiling. I want to educate about psychopaths. I want to educate about how these things really work in real life, the reality of it, the truth of it, and not play these. Either I'm going to play the, oh, I'm so emotional about, I'm da 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 da, and then just let's all be, just very emotional and sweet and touchy-feely kind of stuff. It has its place. I'm not saying other people can't do this. It's just not me, because I want to tell the truth. Truth is not popular. I can guarantee you that. All right, I need to go now. These things, I really get that bent out of shape about things, but I get bent out of shape about stuff like this. And I wish people understood psychopaths better. And I wish people understood the people that may not be psychopaths, but they're still users and abusers. And that would mean a lot of the media, and a lot of our legal system does that as well, because a lot of people in the legal system are making a crap load of money. Defense attorneys, prosecution, experts who testify in court, they make ridiculous sums of money. If we just lowered all the money they could make by taking these cases, like they would make $50,000 a year regardless, you'd see a different world. You'd see different people in the courtroom. You would indeed. Anyway, that's my thoughts on that. Thank you for being here. I always forget to say, please do like and subscribe to the channel, because that helps support a smaller channel, and one that's not making $1 million off of, well, this creature over here and everything he claims. Bye-bye.